Hello, Volarco here, and today I will be doing a tutorial on an eye effect, such as the one that you see right here. I made this for Icy Arts. He just wanted me to make one, so I made one. And you have customization over the power and also the color of it, so I can make like a blue or something. Right? It's fairly simple. The only downside is that here in the bottoms there's these artifacts of black, but as long as you put black bars on top of this, you'll be all good. So for this tutorial, I would just like to request that you have Node Wrangler enabled. So let's type node and Node Wrangler. Then you can save user preferences, so on. So I'm going to start off with a color mix node. And I'll plug the image here into the image there. I'm going to Control Shift click it, and then I'm going to click Control G. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the properties panel, and I'm going to delete the factor there, the factor input, and I'm going to call the second image here to be eye color. And then I will add a converter math, plug this in as an input, then delete. Actually, I'll keep that there. I'm going to set this to be a multiply 10. And then I'm going to call value here. I'm going to call this power. And I'll set the default value to be 0. I'll also set the minimum to be 0 and the maximum to be 250. Then I'm going to control, click, and drag to remove that connection. I'm going to move the output over quite a bit. I'm also going to move the input back a tad. So I'm going to select the mix and the multiply. I'm going to Shift D, duplicate them and move them up. Then I'm going to set this multiply to be -1. We're going to use this later. So for now, it's just going to be sitting there. Then I'm going to put image into the top of this mix node and eye color into the bottom of it. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create some masks. So the first mask you want to make is going to be like it's just going to be a gradient that goes black, white, and then black. So I'm going to add a matte box mask. Then I'm going to add a filter blur. I'm going to set the X to be like 500. Seems about right. I'm going to plug box mask into image. I'm also going to move it up so it's not touching the group input. Then I'm going to hold Control Shift and click on blur. I'm also going to move this back a bit. Then I'm going to select the box mask. I'm going to move it so that it goes all the way up. And then I'm also going to thin it down a bit. So what I can do is I can plug this into the top of the multiply node right there. And then we are going to create another mask. So I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate box mask. Then I'm going to set this here. I'm going to set this to be 0. Keep that at 0.5. And then I'm going to lower this value here to be 0.5. I'm going to set the left slider to be a 2. And I'm going to Control Shift, and you want this to be around halfway. So you just want to increase this 0.5 until it's around halfway on the image. So something that you can do if you want to check where the halfway point is you can just Control Shift, click the group input to image, and then select the box mask, and then you can adjust this. And this will essentially be where the eye is going to split. Right? So something like that, that seems fine, Make this just above the R. So now I'm going to take this box mask, and I'm just going to add a color invert. So I'm going to invert you. I'm also going to remove backdrop for now. So I'm going to invert this color. I'm going to plug this as the factor for this mix node, and plug the original box mask as the factor for the mix node below it. Then I'm going to Shift drag it, create a little node. We're going to be using this at the very end. So now I'm going to add a color mix, and right after the mix, I'm going to do converter set alpha. I'm going to plug this mix into the image, and this is going to be the final group output. Make sure that you're setting the alpha to 1.0. That is important. So now for the mix here, we need to add two displaces. Sorry. So go Distort, Displace. I'm going to put this over here. I'm also going to remove the viewer output there. So I'm going to plug this image here into the image. If I can actually drag it in there. Then this multiply by -1. This is going to be the Y scale. And the power is going to be the vector. So I'm going to duplicate you, plug the image there, plug this original blur node here as the Y scale, and plug this power times 10 as the vector. If I can select it, okay. And then I'm going to put the bottom displace into the top mix, and the top displace into the bottom of the mix. And now I'm going to delete the viewer node. Oh. And then you're going to select And you're going to take this node from the box mask and plug it into the mix. I'm going to shift and move you over. And so just like that, you see if we put the value down to 0, nothing happens. But if we increase the value, we get ourselves an eye. We can also set this to be black, as that's commonly what's done. And now, with some power enabled, I'm going to go through the different filter types so as to show you what is happening. So if we go to Mitch, at the bottom here, you can just sort of see how the shape of it changes. And you can just choose a shape that you like best, play around with the values. The two things you want to play around with are the blur and also how thin or thick this is. Because the thinner it is, the thinner the eye is. And the thicker it is, the thicker the eye is. So play around with these two values until you like it. They're off on the side. But otherwise, that is the finished node group. Goodbye. Enjoy your day or something. I don't know.